starting this video by popping a bottle of champagne that's been sitting unopened in my fridge for over a year. I considered driving out to the countryside and frolicking in a field. I considered heading to the beach and having some unrestrained summer fun in the breakers. But all that was way too much effort for a Thursday afternoon, so instead here I am in my office asking why people are suddenly talking about Helmut Marko leaving Red Bull like it's a bad thing. Kia ora, I'm Kimmy, I talk F1 in the world's second worst accent, and yeah, I agree. Helmut did a lot for young racers. He gave opportunities to many drivers who might not have otherwise had the funds to continue through the ranks, and he nurtured some great talents. Two guys who went on to become multiple-time world champions, one who probably could have been in the right car, a dude who went on to win races for Ferrari and nearly helped them win their first Constructors' Trophy in 16 years, plenty of guys who've gone on to be successful in other series, and basically a third of the drivers who'll be on the grid in 2026. But something that kinda concerns me is that in recent days I've seen a view of the man that feels romanticized. Opinion pieces that almost feel like they're nostalgic already about Marko's approach to managing drivers, treating it as if it's something aspirational rather than for what it was, which is old-fashioned, outdated, and low-key borderline psychological abuse. And look, I'm not saying that Formula One should be some kind of woo-woo, warm, fuzzy, soft, gentle, unproblematic environment that handles all of its up-and-comers with kid gloves. Not even remotely, don't get me wrong. High-performance sport is high-performance sport. It's supposed to be tough because to get there you have to be elite and usually have a lot of money. But there is a balance to be found between nurturing young talent in a way that's productive and being so hardline that every time a driver talks about their experiences, the viewer is just kind of left sitting there with a WTF face on. Add to this Helmut's long and storied history of opening his big gob and saying whatever came unfiltered through the grey matter. Inflammatory, racist, sexist, patronising, lacking any sort of compassion whatsoever. You get my point. To be honest, I can't help but see this change as anything other than positive. Is this sanitization by Red Bull? Maybe, but it's sanitization that makes sense, because when you've got a guy in your organisation who will say it's embarrassing when a rookie who crashed out on debut is visibly upset, or blame bad qualifying form on ethnicity while also demonstrating an absolute inability to know basic geography, or say without any irony whatsoever that the physical strain of driving an F1 car is beyond women when a 19-year-old Lando Norris had biceps with the circumference of a cannoli and a neck that wasn't much bigger. I don't know, man, I think that's a level of old school that, while amusing in a schadenfreude kind of way, kind of needs to be put to bed, you know what I'm saying? Plenty of other people can do Helmut Marko's job. Plenty of other people can probably be more successful in Helmut Marko's job. That is, if Red Bull even feels like they need to replace him with a position that looks the same at all. And considering the reporting on what actually went on behind the scenes has suggested that the whole reason he's out the door in the first place is because he went rogue and effectively said, I do what I like the moment Christian Horner got the boot, keeping him around would basically just be enabling a chaos merchant that was bound to make everyone's lives more difficult. Now, I'm sure everybody watching this has worked somewhere where there was one person who just messed with the whole dynamic, didn't take any guidance, bitched about people behind their backs, nothing was ever their fault, did the absolute best to sow disharmony in the team, often to try and make themselves look better. Was that good for your workplace? Oh, you didn't have anyone like that? Maybe that person was you. The sequence of events that led to Marko's demise appear to go like this. Marko wins the Red Bull power struggle and Christian Horner gets the boot. Laurent Mekies takes over as team principal. Helmut takes one look at Mekies and thinks he'll do exactly the same as he did as the junior team's boss and go along with whatever. And I mean, the guy looks like a total pushover, right? Never mind the fact that he spent plenty of years dealing with both Ferrari and FIA internal politics. So Helmut decides to go and sign Arvid Lindblad and Alex Dunn without telling anyone else about it. Oops, what do you mean you guys don't want Dunn? Oh, you're going to pay him out to get him out of his contract? Hang on a minute, let me just get the sword in the right position to fall on. And along the way, Dunn inadvertently might have become collateral damage, the latest in the long line of young drivers whose careers have been severely messed with by Helmut Marko. Sure, Dunn will more than probably bounce back. He's still got his seat with Roden next year. He's got a fat chunk of change in his pocket to help pay for that campaign. and he has other academy prospects despite burning his bridges, in the meantime at least, with McLaren. But the whole situation is still pretty, shit. So no, I hold zero sympathy for Helmut Marko. I don't feel that this move will in any way hinder Red Bull's young driver program, and if anything, Marko's departure will give them the opportunity to modernise it in a way that hopefully removes the spaghetti at a wall approach that's been the hallmark of their post-Ricciardo era. Speaking of Daniel Ricciardo, if you've been paying attention this year to what he's been up to, you'll know that he still has links to Red Bull despite being very much out of the spotlight. People love to drop Sebastian Vettel's name in as a potential Marko replacement, and I do tend to agree. That is, if he's able to balance that job with his aspirations of becoming a farmer. But Daniel Ricciardo's Enchanté brand is now a partner of the Racing Bulls F1 Academy car of Rafael Ferreira. He's also a Ford ambassador, so has additional links through the Ford/Red Bull powertrains engine partnership. And with Horner and Marko gone, effectively the architects of his unceremonious exit from the sport, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him not so much heading up the Red Bull Driver Academy, but certainly being involved in it as a mentor. Ricciardo's partnership with Rafael Ferreira appears to involve a mentorship component. Yuki Tsunoda spoke very highly of his time as Daniel's teammate, and even Liam Lawson, the guy who he lost his seat to, has made comments about calling Daniel for advice this year. Then there's Christian Klein, the very first graduate from Red Bull's junior program and one of their OG drivers in 2005 alongside David Coulthard. Klein is, as far as I'm aware anyway, still a Red Bull ambassador despite his sacking by Marko mid-season in 2006, and has plenty of experience as not only a racing driver, but also as a driver coach. He's also Austrian, if that's of any consequence to Red Bull GmbH and Oliver Mintzlaff. And granted, the job will probably look a lot different to the one Helmut Marko has just vacated, but I don't think they're gonna have to look very far to find the right person to replace him. So what do you think about this last gasp 2025 F1 season bombshell? Are you laughing at the irony of it all, that Adrian Newey reportedly left because of the Christian Horner scandal, Horner himself lost the power struggle with Marko, and now Marko's gone as well? It's like the anti-domino effect. Maybe you're of the opposite opinion to me and think this is a big mistake, in which case please feel free to share your thoughts. Do you perhaps have the perfect replacement in mind? Chat about it down in the comments. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you're not already, make sure you subscribe so YouTube gets an extra prompt to show you when I put out new stuff. Thanks as always to my patrons for keeping the beer drawer in my fridge topped up. If you'd like to join, the link is here on the screen as well as down in the description. I'll catch you next time. Ka kite.